Gucci Bucket Hat. We're down for the next episode. And the topic for today is red flag, green flag. Welcome to the chat, y'all. We are the way lit. We doing the 10K. We are already almost 1K into the 10K. So this episode, I've got a bunch of questions already preloaded from chat and questionnaires that I've taken on Twitter. And then I put these questions to the podcast. So thank you everyone that submitted a question. I appreciate it. All of my community, my J-Dot community, you can join the podcast. I go live on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. I think my next one might be directly on YouTube, actually. That's a good point. But check me out if you want to get involved in the J-Dot community. We're having fun with this podcast. And at some point, I will start getting some more guests from different walks of life to kind of expand the podcast and get different perspectives, and have like specific categories. So we'll do votes in the chat to try and figure out, or in the Discord to try and figure out what type of content that you guys would like, or what type of people from what particular sectors that you would like. And I'll reach out to them. I'll reach out to a few influencers and just a few normal people, right? If you want to listen to a banker, for example, I'll invite them out for a coffee, a tea, and a 10K walk. Who's going to say no to that when the weather in England is so good? And we can get the podcast going. Yeah, I'm just waiting for a few numbers to pop in. Let me just double check sound before we spend the next 2 years talking and the sound is all messed up. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just double check that we are the way lit. I've got the right speaker going on. Let me just check we are the way lit. And it sounds like we are the way lit. Yeah, we love to see it. Don't you just love when technology actually does the thing that it's supposed to do? So I've got a road that I need to cross real quick. So once I safely cross this road, once I safely cross this road, we can get down to the first question. But feel free to put any questions that you want in the chat. Today's topic is red flag, green flag. So I'll be going through some questions that chat has asked me about their relationships. Is it a red flag? Is it a green flag? J-Dot is gonna talk about it. I need to find like some bucket hat sponsors or something, you know what I mean? Someone's gotta holler at me. We all the way lit. I'm trying to get me some free bucket hats, you know what I'm saying? This one ain't even Gucci. I'm trying to get me the Gucci bucket hat. So, if anyone knows, anyone that work at Gucci, I'm trying to get me the Gucci bucket hat so I can be legit. Until then, we got unbranded. Alright, this is the crazy ass road that I need to cross. Because it's very busy, and 2, it's very loud. Okay, we have successfully crossed the road without dying. So chat, the first question in the chat is someone wants to share their locations with you early in the relationship. Red flag, green flag. Okay, so chat, the first question is, early in the relationship, somebody wants to share their location with you, i.e. wanting your location. This is a very good one. this is a very good one. So there's a few things that, okay, we just reached 1K, big W in the chat. So the question is, someone early in a relationship wants to share locations with you, i.e. they want your location. So this is a very good question, I think, because I think it goes two ways, right? It can be a red flag because do they trust you? Are they trying to spy on you? Do they not believe, that you're going to where you say that you're going? And also you can ask yourself this question: have I done something to make them feel like that, that they need to have my location? Like what am I doing that's making this person not necessarily trust me, that they want to have my location type thing? And then the other thing is, yeah, like I said, are they projecting? If it's so early in a relationship, like, have we put the foundation to already get to that stage? So that's kind of an interesting one, And with modern technology, a lot of things have changed now in terms of like the whole couple thing, and sharing the location I know it's got a lot of people in trouble. A lot of people doing them side quests. I know it's got you in trouble. So that's a big question, like, is that a red flag? Like I said, I think it depends. Has somebody done something already to cause that situation? Or has that just, is there like a lack of trust in the relationship? So, and, is there some nefarious means behind that, i.e., are they trying to get you robbed or something? You know what I mean? So that's like where it could be a red flag. What's the trust level in a relationship? Where it would be a green flag, I'll give you a scenario, a green flag of where sharing locations early in a relationship is a green flag. Well, hopefully you've got to the point where you're in a relationship and there is trust and there is that foundation. And if my girl, well, actually this has happened to me, where early in a relationship, she didn't ask me for my location. She wanted to give me her location. So it's like, okay, right off the bat, you're showing that trust, you know what I mean? And showing that this is something that you want. And there's also an element of like safety. There's an element here of, I'm able to find out where she is in case of an emergency type thing. So I think that also plays a role, right? And in that sense, I would say that it's a green flag if you've already established that level of trust and it's not awkward. You know what I mean? It's just something that kind of can happen naturally, flow naturally. Then that's great. And vice versa, if the guy's like, hey, let's exchange location. Again, what's the trust level? And again, what's the reasoning behind it? And I think the sharing location thing should not be, I want to spy on my other half. And I think that's the red flag. I think it's just only safety. We're living in 2026. Life is a little bit funny. You know what I mean? Anything can happen. You could be walking down the street and somebody robs your phone, but your spouse has your location on the phone and they can track it down, etc., etc. So there's so many reasons, why that's a positive thing. W's in the chat. That was a great question. And to be honest, like I said, a lot of people have got in trouble for this one, so I think that's quite funny actually. W's in the chat. Yeah, it's a hot day, guys. I'm really encouraging you to get out of the house, breathe some fresh air, get some steps in. It's really good for your health. I'm actually starting a 72-hour fast on my fasting app that I've developed that should be on iOS and Android. Hopefully by the end of this month, this is what I'm planning towards. But I just felt like I needed to do a 70. It was going to be 24 hours, but I was like, you know what? I might as well do 72 starting today and be able to break my fast on the weekend on Sunday, I think. So we are all the way lit. But I break it just before I would do football, so it's a bit long day, but we are all the way lit. All right, let's get a question. We got this next question coming up. Ha! Oh, this is a good question. So chat, the question is, they are still close friends with their ex. Red flag or green flag? That is a dope question. They are still besties with their ex. Red flag or green flag? I can tell you the short answer already. The short answer already is red flag. Red flag, man. Straight. But there is a small percentage where that's a green flag. But because I feel so strongly that it's a red flag, I'll tell you the reasons why. And you guys can debate me in the comments below. So, the assumption is that they are now with me. This is the assumption. They're now an item with me, but they're still close friends with their ex. So, there's a few things here. Obviously, I put myself in this scenario. So, you got a new man. Why are you still talking to your old man? That's number one. Number two, obviously you have history with that person that predates me, that is potentially stronger than our relationship because you've been with them longer, potentially, or you've known them longer, they've been in your life longer, maybe they've already met your parents, etc., etc. So it's never a fair, not that you should be fighting for anyone's attention or fighting for those type of relationships where somebody's clearly picking someone else. But it's not even a fair battle. You know, it's not a fair battle because that person has so much on you that you're not going to be able to compete against. That's number two. Number three, why haven't you moved on? Why have you broken up but still feel the need to talk to this human in that way? Like, you lot should have moved on already. Why are you still in each other's life in such a way where you're saying that's also still my best friend, that's my bestie? Hell no. No. That's number three. Number four, it's probably the last one. That person, that bestie is likely an option, y'all. That bestie is likely an option. And what makes matters worse is they've already been intimate. How the hell can you trust that relationship? It's literally impossible. It's impossible that you can trust that relationship. These lot have already been intimate. So you're not besties. You're ex-lovers. There's no world where you guys are just besties. You guys are ex-lovers. And if you're with a new lover, why are you still keeping an option or an ex-lover in your life in such a way? So that's 4 ways that's a red flag, y'all. 100%. And it just begs the question, why? Basically. And if they're still in your life, why don't you just stay with them? Type thing. So the only scenario where for me, I could say it's a green flag is, well, okay, there's two. One, you guys had a kid together, right? So you're co-parenting. So the kid is forcing you to be in each other's life. That's one. I would say that's acceptable, right? A little bit weird, but acceptable. And then two, where you're such a good person and they are such a good person where the relationship broke up so amicably, where where it shows that like you're not toxic, they're not toxic. It just had to end, type thing. And that type of scenario where everybody's an angel, I wouldn't accept it, but I can at least say it may not be a red flag. I wouldn't accept it though, but I can say at least shows it's showing a positive thing, right? It's showing that you guys are both mature, that you guys that you made a very clear decision that you no longer want to be with this person, clearly, because there wasn't a beef, it wasn't some argument, and someone didn't cheat. You guys just came to the conclusion that you shouldn't be together anymore, and actually you're better than friends. That scenario does happen. It does exist. It's very rare, but it does exist. Would I want to go? This is probably another podcast, so let me not go down that route. Let me not go down that route. That's probably another podcast, y'all. So, in terms of red flag. But that was a very good question. Thank you, chat. We are at the 2K mark. All right, let's get to the next one. We are the way lit. Oh, okay. This is interesting. So the next question, chat, is they refuse to post you, but post everything else about their life. Private relationship. So this is interesting. They post everything else about their life, but they don't post you. Is that a red flag or is that a green flag? I would say overall, that's a tough question, chat. Like, so let me give you this. Majority of the time, that's going to be a red flag, except for one or two scenarios. This time, we're going to start with the. No, we'll start with the red flag again. Why not? Why it's a red flag? Probably someone's cheating. Let's be real. Someone probably cheating. Hey, someone got that little sneaky link and doesn't want to reveal to the world that they actually, in an actual proper relationship. So that's where it's definitely a red flag, y'all. Another reason where it's a red flag, right? And they posted all the other exes but not posting you. Or they got other girls on their page but not posting you. Hey, red flag, y'all. Red flag. And if it's a girl, 10 times worse. 10 times worse if it's a girl. Red flag, y'all. So basically, that's that scenario. Again, it seems like they're active on social media. So it's not like they're not active. They're active, but they just don't want to post you. I think that's a bit random. Very, very random. So, red flag. The scenario where that's a green flag, and it's a very specific scenario, is if you look on their page, have they ever posted their actual relationship on their page? Right? This is where it's a green flag. If they've never posted, so you're not the exception to the rule, they've never posted any of their relationships before, well then it's a green flag, because it's normal expected behavior. And maybe that person is just private, wants to keep their private life and their personal life separate, at least the things that matter to him. Because there is some, okay, from a male perspective, this is like, you can listen up, women. From a male perspective, a guy wants to protect what he has, right? If he's posting, flaunting his girl, tagging his girl, vacation pics, people get jealous, and people don't necessarily like your success or like what you got going on. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna purposely try and slide in your DM or her DM. So like from a male's point of view, you're kind of protecting your girl from that exposure, or maybe you don't want to have to deal with that scenario, so you're keeping it private type thing. So there's that element. That was a little bit on the fence. All of these questions have been good, let me not lie. These have been some good questions because it's like some of them are like a gray area. It's hard to say straight red flag, but this one is more leaning towards, well, like I said, you can't give people the benefit of the doubt. You got to doubt the benefit. And in that scenario, red flag, red flag. All right, question number 4. They want to go 50-50 on every date. Red flag or green flag? Oh, there's going to be some controversy in the chat. They want to go 50-50 on every date. So let me give my 2 cents. It depends. Guys, I'm a very traditional man. So let me speak for the ladies here. If you got a man, if you're a girl and you got a man who wants to go 50-50 for everything, I would say that's a red flag. Only because I'm a traditional man. I'm not saying that a man should pay for everything. But if someone is insisting on it, that's a bit of a red flag for me. Because, for me, call me old fashioned, but a man's meant to provide, protect, etc. So in that scenario, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, like, what's really going on type thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that because that's probably a whole podcast in itself. But that would definitely be a red flag if it was the guy. 100%, no questions really. Like, we're just talking from a cultural standpoint here, you know what I mean? That would just be a red flag. Now, if a girl is insistent on going 50-50 with me, I would say that's a green flag. I ain't gonna let her do it, but there is beauty in the offering. There's beauty in the offering. Because it means that you're taking some level of responsibility, some level of ownership, some level of care, you could say, in not wanting your man to just pay for everything. Because I don't think the man should pay for everything. Like I said to you last time in the previous podcast, there's a strange power dynamic that you can fall into when the man is literally paying for everything in the household. Because we ain't in the 1800s no more. So it ain't really about that. Think like life has changed. A house don't cost £1,000. You know what I mean? So we're not really in that scenario anymore. So like I said, there's small things that a woman can do to show appreciation to their man. Doesn't necessarily mean paying the bills, but could mean other things. Like paying for all the things that he likes, new PS5, new game, massages, nights out, all of that. But I would say green flag straight away. It was an easy question to us. That was an easy question. W's in the chat. Let's get the next question going. Whew. That door is open. Oh, my bossman is there. Maybe that's his car. All right, so here's a question. They message you all day, every day, after only knowing you for a week. Genuine interest or love bombing? So the question is, they message you all day, every day. They've only known you for a week. Is that genuine interest, or are they love bombing you? I feel like this love bombing is like a new concept, huh? Like, I didn't hear about love bombing like 5 years ago. Seems to be like a new concept, but I get it. Now, is that love bombing? Is that a red flag? Uh, you know, I'm gonna go green flag. I'm gonna go green flag. They've only known you for a week and they're messaging you every day, all day. I'm gonna go green flag. I like man like that. I like man like that. What I mean by that is, show your interest. God damn, like 2026, like everybody like moving a bit too. Like their life is a movie. I know I'm streaming. I know I'm live streaming, but yo, if you care about someone, if you want someone, don't be playing mind games. Just, you're wasting your time and their time. Like, if you're serious and you've got genuine interest and you want to show them, like, yo, if we're in a relationship, this is the type of energy that I'm going to give you. Like, it's all or nothing type thing. Then they know what they're working with. Imagine you know, like they have a massive switch up later on down the line. That might end up being like too much because they'll be like, it's out of character type thing. If it's within your character to behave like that, I don't think you should hold back. There's no need for you to hold back. So, green flag. The only scenario where that's a red flag is if you're not into it, right? If you got your if you got your 10 out of 10 woman, your Zendaya, your Ortega, your Jennifer Lawrence, whoever it is, you got your 10 out of 10, yeah, giving you that much energy, you ain't gonna say no. You ain't gonna be like, ew. You know, you're gonna appreciate that energy. And the truth is, like, hopefully you're busy working and getting that paper, right? So you're not gonna be replying immediately anyway. It won't be too much. You're gonna reply in your own time, type thing. But at least you know someone's thinking about you and cares about you, you know? And vice versa. The only reason why it's a red flag is because, yeah, it can be a little bit too soon. In the sense of maybe your feelings ain't at the same level as them yet. And that's fine. You communicate that really. Or you're probably just not that into them. And that's probably why it's going to be a red flag. We are the way late. We like halfway through the walk right now. Weather's good. Buckat Hat good. Hope everyone having a wonderful day. We're like on question 5, question 6 now, right? W's in the chat. This is the opposite of what we just had. They take ages to reply, but are constantly active on social media. Red flag, or are you expecting too much? My first instinct is red flag. My first instinct is red flag. So the question is, like, they take too long to reply. They take ages to reply, but they're quick to be posting on social media, commenting, liking photos, all of that. That's red flag to me. That ain't really much of a question. You know why? Uh, you know, there's 2 reasons why. One, clearly they're not that into you in the same way that you're into them, right? Clearly, right? That's number one. Number two, I'm not gonna say that they're leading you on or anything, but you know, some people may not want to reply straight away. That's not their energy to be on replying. I got some people, I know some people that are just a little bit terrible at replying for whatever reason. I don't want to go in that dissecting that because I don't understand that fully because I'm not that type of person. But there are some people like that. And there's this small little thing called communication. So that's why I say it's an immediate red flag. It's not to say that they're a bad person or you're a bad person. It's to say, like, for example, when I was in that exact situation with a girl, the next day or like after like a week or something, I sat her down. I said, "Yo, what's good? Like, why you take so long to text back? Like, let's just have a conversation. Like, just not accusing anyone, but like the proof's in the pudding type thing." And she just said, "Oh, I'm not a texter. I would prefer phone calls." That simple, gang. That simple, chat. I never text that girl again. What I do? Din, 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 din. Can I speak to you about your insurance policy? That's what I was doing. Kissing through the phone. All of that, all of that. So that's why I say context matters, because the red flag is in the lack of communication in that scenario. Why isn't that person just talking and saying, look, I'm not really into that type of scenario where I'm texting every single day type thing. You know what I mean? Sorry, got a little distracted. uh, you know, why don't they just be honest? And why don't you just be honest also, or bring it up? Like, so that's a red flag. And I'm a firm believer of like, well, I'm a firm believer of like communication, but also like keep the same energy. So if if you're always chasing, yeah, man, chill out, dog, chill out, B. They don't like you that much. I don't really have like, I don't really care if they shy, they this, they that. Like, people can communicate, uh, you know, or like I said, if you care enough, then you should communicate and try and find out the root of the situation. All right, Bobby's in the chat. What's the next one? Question number 7. Ooh, we are walking, y'all. Oh, okay. They have a best friend of the opposite sex. Red flag, green flag. Uh, this is like a variant. This is a variant the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend in the yeah, in their life still. So is it a red flag or green flag that they have a best friend of the opposite sex? I don't care if the best friend is gay or lesbian in this scenario, in any scenario. It don't matter. I'm not trying to say that you can't have a relationship with the opposite sex. Like it's a friendship, a pure platonic friendship. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, once you're in a relationship now, that person I'm not saying they're gonna go. You ain't gonna forsake your friend of like 10 years or something. But the person who should hold that space should now be your spouse. Your spouse should now hold that space, not this best friend. So there needs to be respectable distance. Does that make sense? For me, that's red flag anyway. If I see a girl that's only got guy friends, deuces. I don't know if you guys remember that song. That was an OG song from Chris Brown. Yeah, I ain't even talking to her. I ain't even taking her seriously So I ain't even taking her seriously. Like, that's straight red flag, yo. No cap, no long thing. So that one, that's easy. Cause I wouldn't. Once I realized that that was what it was, I would be out or he's out. It's one of us gotta go. And that just is what it is. And I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't um, do myself. Right? I'm standing 100. I also would remove any females. Like the closest female in my life should be my spouse, type thing. Right? So I would also do the same thing. I'm not expecting anything that I wouldn't expect of the other person, type thing. So that's just where we're at. That one's a simple question, really. W's in the chat. Holy schmoly. Holy schmoly. You got a lot of summer, man. You gotta just love the summer. We all know he lit. W question in the chat. Alright. Number 9. They ask for your phone password. Transparency or controlling? Red flag or green flag? I would say for me that's a red flag. I'm not gonna lie. For me that's a red flag, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, in what scenario? There's scenarios, yeah, where you spend so much time with a person that it naturally comes up. Like, you naturally know the password to someone else's phone. Not someone else, your spouse's phone, because of just like normal stuff. Like, oh, they're in the kitchen, you're here, you need to get some details, you're trying to buy flights. I don't know. You're messaging someone, you need to call someone. Like, it can happen naturally in the course of the relationship. Because how often do you need to be in someone else's phone? Let's be real. In a normal day-to-day basis scenario, how often do you realistically need to be in someone else's phone? Not that often. Let's be real, right? So, but like husband and wife, you should probably know your husband's PIN code, and you should probably know your wife's PIN code. Let's be real. Girlfriend and boyfriend, like I said, girlfriend and boyfriend are scenarios. Husband and wife, I think that just has to happen. So W's in the chat. To be honest, that one a little bit difficult, and I think it depends where you are in the relationship. In general, I think phones are. I mean, how many hours do people spend on their phone? Your phone probably knows more about you than anyone or anything else on the entire planet. So there is like an intimacy gap. And I think once you have established a certain level of trust, understanding, etc., that's just come naturally. I don't know if I answered the red flag, green flag in that scenario. Because like I said, I think it depends where you are in the relationship. But yeah, that was a tough question. Not gonna lie, that was a tough question. So W's in the chat. I will speak to you guys on that one. Maybe that one's like another podcast. If you want me to dissect that a bit more, that could be its whole conversation. All right, number 10. We're in a good place. Ooh. Oh, oh. Okay, so they tell their friends every detail about your arguments. Red flag, green flag. Is that a healthy support system, or is that a relationship red flag? I can tell you now, right now, off the bat, that's a red flag. The only people that should be in your relationship is you. Don't think that these people have your best intentions at heart. Now, there is situations where you might seek some counsel, some guidance. But every time you have an argument, every time there's some friction in the relationship, you go and run to your friends. Nah, B, like I said, your life ain't a movie, B. This ain't Hollyoaks, this ain't EastEnders, B. This ain't Love Island, B. Like, this is real life. You know why? Because these friends that give you advice don't have to deal with the consequences. They can say all types of nonsense because they have no buy-in. There's no consequences to their actions. And if you follow their advice, well, what they're gonna say, oh, well, I just give you advice. You didn't have to listen. And now you're a single mother, like, huh? You know what I mean? So you need to kind of take all of that into consideration when you go back to the girlies, or if you're a guy, you put it in the group chat. You gotta really think about that. Not even your own parents should be knowing all this information, the ins and outs of your relationship. No, it should be between you two. You should have enough communication between each other to talk it out like adults and get to the bottom of it. Get to the bottom of the scenario and just talk it out like adults. Like I said, there might be some scenarios where you seek counsel, like, I don't know, wedding ring, you know, or keep it on topic of the arguments. Keeping it on topic of the arguments, it could be, hold on, I'm trying to cross the road and not die. I'm trying to cross the road and not die. 1 second, chat. I bet. I feel like, do I need a drink? We all the way lit. Do I go get me a drink? All right, cool. So this question was a very good question. And I think, as I said to you, chat, like, you need to make sure that in your relationship, it's just you and your significant other. Other people shouldn't be having so much sway in your own business. Because not everybody your friend. And not every advice is good advice. And the scenarios where maybe you should seek counsel is when a situation has happened where you've done something potentially wrong, and you don't know whether you've done that thing wrong. So you kind of want clarification. You wanna sound check. Yo, have I messed up here? Did I mess up? Should I apologize? Like, am I a douchebag? Am I a donut type thing? Once you kind of like, that might be a scenario where you might ask for some advice. Or let's say a situation has happened and you're thinking about, making kind of like a major decision, like breaking up or having a divorce. Maybe in that scenario, you might get some counsel. Like, oh, okay, this person's kind of had more experience than me, or they know both of us, so they can have a good judgment of whether this was said out of anger or not, whatever it is. Maybe in that scenario, you might ask for some guidance, but it definitely can't be all the time. Like, these people shouldn't really be knowing your business. And that's how a lot of relationships end. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of relationships end because you've taken some bad advice, y'all. There's some good examples right now trending, but I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, there was one, right? I'll give an example just for the sake of it. There was one where there was a group of girls and they were all pranking their boyfriends slash husbands. And the prank was pretending that they want to break up. That was the prank. Okay? So this wife said to her husband, I want a divorce. And put it all on the line, said the reasons why in jest, in a joke. And the husband just said, okay, cool. Got up, packed his bag and left the house. Next day came back, papers, divorce papers. Divorce papers on the table, y'all. And she's like, it's a prank. Like, here's all the chat. Like, you can see, I didn't mean it. It was a prank. Yeah, done deal. And then she went back to the girls like, oh, what do I do? Like, I just did the same prank as you girls. Like, da, 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 da. Lost her husband, y'all. So, like I said, like, you really got to be careful what you be doing and not really following people. Yes, well, not really following people and keeping people out of your relationship. You got to protect your relationship. It's yours. It don't belong to anyone else. So that one was I know I went on a bit of a rant here, but that one was a serious one. All right. You probably got time for like one or two more. Okay. This is interesting. There's never been in a serious relationship before. Red flag, green flag. Well, I would say, I can't even drink anything irresponsible because I've started my fast now already. So I can't even drink anything irresponsible. But the 2 cents is there. For me, that's green flag. There's some scenarios where that's a red flag though. But if I'm a guy and I'm looking at a girl, she's never been in a serious relationship, I wouldn't take that as a red flag. And as long as that also means that she hasn't had her time on the town, if you know what I mean. And she ain't been out there having her time on the town, and the main thing is that she just hasn't found someone to have a serious relationship with, then I don't think that's a problem. That could be a red flag if if she has had her time on the town, then it could be a red flag. And because it's like, commitment. And same thing for the guy, really. If he's been with loads and loads and loads of girls and hasn't had one or two committed relationships, then it's like, again, is it a commitment issue? Are you even going to be able to handle a proper relationship, etc.? So that would be my 2 cents on that. But in general, that would be a green flag. I wouldn't really take that the wrong way. As long as, like I said, as long as they ain't being round and roundabout type thing. All right. This is interesting. So this one is actually we kind of touched on this before. This one is, they earn considerably more but expect everything to be split equally. Well, considerably more can mean a lot of things, but we're assuming that they earn, 1, 2, maybe 3, 4,000 more than the other person, let's say, yeah? So they're comfortable. But I want everything to be 50-50. If it's a guy, that's a red flag. If that's a guy, that's a red flag. 100%. If that's a woman, I think it depends on the situation. Depends on the situation. And to be honest with you, and this applies for both sexes, what I'm about to say. The situation I'm about to say applies to both sexes. So if one is earning considerably more than the other, and the other is struggling, but you're adamant on going 50-50, red flag. Well, what are we doing there? Like, why are we doing that? What are we doing there? Because clearly they're splitting with you on a lifestyle that they can't afford. So if you can afford that lifestyle, either move on to the next person or do a split that makes sense for their finances, right? Because otherwise, like, what are we really doing? Why would you want a struggling partner when you can afford it? That doesn't really make sense. So it doesn't really matter whether that's a guy or a girl. Any scenario where that's happening, that's a red flag. You know, I think where we've got things a little bit skewed is that in a relationship, it should be the relationship above all. So if the 50-50 is something that makes sense for the relationship in principle, and it's beneficial for the relationship in principle, then cool. But, you know, I think it would be, I don't know, I just think you got to think about that one. Even if I'm the guy and the girl earns considerably more than me, and I want to play 50-50 of everything, um, you know, you have to kind of think like, if I didn't pay that 50-50 for a year, for example, how much more ahead am I going to be in life? How much resources would I have to invest in X, Y, and Z places? And is those investments going to be beneficial for the relationship? Is that going to make us more secure if I can save up for a deposit for an asset? You know, it's those things that you kind of need to take into consideration. That's a very tough question, to be honest. So I think, in my mind, when two people come together, they're now one entity. So it's like, what's most beneficial for the one entity? But there's some scenarios where, like I said, the power games is interesting. And as a man, I guess you always want to be in a position of power and control of any scenario that you're in, so that you're never vulnerable and you're never in a place where people have to dictate your life. You should be following your vision and your purpose. So in a scenario where that puts you out of pocket, yeah, man, it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. So that would be a red flag in that scenario. And vice versa for the woman. It's like, if your man can afford it to pay more, and that would mean that you would have a better scenario, but it's choosing not to. I don't know. That's a bit weird. Like, you got to really ask yourself, like, why? I get it. It's like fair. They're not forced to spend their money. It's their money. They earn that money, but they don't have to, uh, you know, support you in that way. But they should. If it's beneficial for the relationship, they should. If it's just like a personal thing, you want to buy dumb stuff, then maybe not. But if it's gonna help you get on track in your life, then yeah, probably they should. So that's a tough one. Maybe we've got time for like one or two more, guys. Let me read this one. This one's a bit. Wait, what? Let me check. Let me check. So this question is: they're extremely close with their family, and speak to their parents every day, is that a green flag or a possible warning sign of a red flag? The question is, they speak to their family every day, especially their parents every day. They're really close with their family. Is that a green flag or a red flag? 9 times out of 10, that's a green flag. Anyone that's got a good relationship with their family, hopefully, should know what a good family looks like. Hopefully, would have good parents in their life. If they're talking to them every day, hopefully that means they got a good relationship with their parents, which in turn should mean that they were brought up right, or at least brought up with love and know what a family looks like. Because you know what? I will say, dating somebody that's had a dysfunctional family and dating somebody that's had a wonderful family support behind them, it's 2 different things. It's complete, and certain things are completely alien to the person that has never seen a good family, that hasn't had everyone sit down for dinner together. You know, that is completely alien for them. So I will say there's a big difference. So that's why I'm saying 9 times out of 10, if they've had a good experience or a good relationship with a family, they talk to their parents every day, it should mean that they should know how to build a good family with you, basically, because you're now their new family type thing. Now let me tell you the scenario where this is a red flag. There are some situations where maybe the guy is like a mommy's boy and can do no wrong, and the family always got their back even when they're doing wrong, even when they're doing things that maybe they shouldn't do. And that is like where it can get a bit sticky. That's where it can be a red flag. It's like when there's no repercussions for certain actions, or the family or the parents are getting in the way of the relationship, because the relationship with the parents is so close, they're calling them every single day, they're always up in the business, maybe they don't make decisions until they spoke to the parents. That's long. And vice versa when it's the female. And let's say, like, again, good relationship with the parents, strong father figure, and before she makes any decisions, she wants to speak to her dad, not the husband. She gets the dad's approval first. That's like a scenario where it's a little bit long day. Because it's like, yeah, you can't make executive decisions in your own home. You've got a CEO somewhere else, you know what I mean? That's a little bit long day. So that's the situation where it's a red flag. In-laws are always a tricky little balancing stick, and hard to kind of tiptoe over. But that's kind of how that situation is. But yeah, W's in the chat. I think we literally have time for one last one. And the question will be, oh, okay, this is an interesting one. So they're perfect in person, but inconsistent in between dates. So like when you actually get the person in front of you, they're giving you all your attention, etc. But in between dates, maybe they completely fall off the line. Is that yeah. Bro? Hey, Charlie Brown. Charlie. Chale, chale. All right, last one, chat. So on dates, they're the perfect human, but in between dates, they're inconsistent. Is that a red flag? Yes. I don't think there's any scenario where there's green flag in that scenario. Red flag straight away. Why are they inconsistent? Why are they dropping off? Why are they not? Why do you need to chase to get a message back? Why maybe they don't want to have phone calls anymore? What life are they living when they're not with you? Is the scenarios that are coming there. Like, why can't they be like how they are in person, digitally? So I think that raises some red flags straight away. And you kind of need to ask those questions and find out what's really going on. Because that would be, could potentially be a major red flag. Are they living a double life type thing? And there's people like that. So it may be that they're just busy and they're working, but I kind of come to the conclusion that no one's that busy unless, I don't know, you working in a place that ain't got no signal, or you working as a firefighter and you're fighting fires 12 hours a day type thing. I don't know. Like, in what scenario could you not pick up the phone and say, hey B, I'm in the middle of something. Thank you for the message. I'll talk to you later. Or hey, sorry I took too long to reply. I'm X, Y, and Z. And just communicating, right? We don't talk about being able to talk during the day when you're working, because that's inappropriate. But the reply message of communication, like adult communication, I think is necessary. So yeah, that's the 2-2s on that. Guys, it's been a wonderful stream. 1 hour stream. We got the 10K in. And it's been a beautiful day. So many people have been saying hello to me. It's been a little bit, yeah. GG's. Like, follow, subscribe, share. And if you want to be a part of the podcast and go for a walk, let me know where you're at. I'll pull up to wherever you are and we can make it happen. Speak to you. Well, if you're in the UK, we can make it happen. If you're abroad, we can make it happen, but it's going to take some time, y'all. All right, GG's. Have a wonderful day, guys. Hope you enjoy the sunlight.